Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Laura coming to you with another short video. And tonight's video is going to be gang stalking, the master puppeteer, and this is part 2, as promised. And so on part 1, we discussed, the agenda of the master puppeteer. We discussed a few of the techniques of this person. And so tonight we're going to delve in just a little bit deeper regarding the master puppeteer and his or her puppets. But first, before we get into that, let me just say this. Regardless of what name we assign to the people being used to carry out gang stalking tactics, whether we call them pawns, peons, whether we call them recruits, lower level gang stalkers, worker bees, or we may even assign them the name of flying monkeys. Regardless of the name that we give them, they're still puppets. Anytime that a person is being used to do the dirty work, the bidding, to bring evil to others that have basically done them no harm, to destroy the lives of innocent people, to victimize innocent people, to be controlled without, a second thought, to obey an order without a second thought, to do work and to do bidding without using your own faculties, thinking things through, asking questions, thinking for yourself. You are nothing more than a puppet. And so, tonight, we're going to talk about how this master puppeteer and puppet relationship comes about. Well, first of all, a master puppeteer, they have to decide, which puppet they want to use for the particular assignment. The master puppeteer may decide to purchase a puppet, or he may decide to construct his own puppet. Now, if he decides to purchase a puppet, he will need to break this puppet down. Everything about this puppet will have to be dismantled, torn apart, basically, rebuilt again, reconstructed again to his liking. And he accomplishes all of this without ever showing his face. Sometimes the work is done without even a show of hands. You may have heard that saying, you don't allow the left hand to know what the right hand is doing. Well, the master puppeteer has mastered the art of not allowing the left hand to know what the right hand is doing. The master puppeteer has mastered throwing the brick and hiding his hand. You would never see it coming. He will never show you his hands. Like the master, trickster or card player on the street. What do they used to call it? 3-card Marley or something like that, where, this person, the hands are quicker than the eyes. And you place your bet, but in the end, the house always wins. The dealer always wins. And so, in the picture, you will see that there is a puppet. If you take a close look at the picture I'm presenting to you, you will see that there's a puppet. and there are strings attached to the hands, the feet, and the head of this puppet. Over the head of the puppet, at the top, there's this, extremely large hand. You don't see an arm, a face, a body. All you see is a hand, which signifies superiority, domination, complete control, complete manipulation. And this master puppeteer is using this puppet, my friends, to derail and to control you. And if you put up any type of a fight or resistance, the puppet cannot do that. He or she's already controlled. And so if you put up any type of fight or resistance, the gang stalking tactics will increase. And so this is how the master puppeteer is able to achieve and able to accomplish his agenda. So when we take a look at those strings that are attached to the different parts of the body, how does the master puppeteer manage to get the strings on the hands of the puppet? Well, first of all, it's done by offering gifts with strings attached. In society today, we know that a lot of people can be bought with a price. Their souls are for sale. We know that we operate in a society where if you scratch my back, I will scratch yours. Or if you do this favor for me, I will do this favor for you, also known as the quid pro quo. Also, this is done by sabotaging the work of the hands of the puppet, their employment, their life source, by interfering with that, making it very difficult or completely taking it away, or allowing the puppet to climb so high, taking them to the heights and the pinnacle of success and then throwing them down, allowing them to get so high and then pulling the string and they come crashing down with a mighty fall to never be repaired again, almost like Humpty Dumpty on the wall. He had a great fall, and all the king's horsemen and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Also, this is done by, let's say, for instance, the puppet or the person is a praying, worshiping person. In order to accomplish that, you have to lift up hands. Well, the master puppeteer will become such a distraction, will make it so difficult for the person to even pray. They will make the distraction and make so much of a demand of this person's time or criticize them for praying and worshiping that they will no longer want or desire to pray as much as they used to. So this is the way that the master puppeteer is able to get strings around both hands of the puppet. So how does the master puppeteer manage to get strings around the feet? And we know that if the feet are shackled or strings or any type of anything that's attached around the feet, it will limit the mobility. And again, this is done to only allow the puppet to go so far and then jerk the string and pull him back again. Basically letting the puppet know this here is your place. Don't get out of your place. And so how was this accomplished? This is accomplished by isolating the person to the point where they have no one to turn to, no family, no friends. It makes them have to draw closer to the master puppeteer and totally depend on them for everything. The master puppeteer also accomplishes this isolation by giving the puppet the cold shoulder or the silent treatment whenever this person does not do exactly what the master puppeteer tells them to do. Now, this last and final string, this allows for maximum control. And this string is attached to the mind or the head of the puppet. And as I stated before in the previous video, wherever the mind goes, the man follows. And so ultimate control and domination and manipulation is achieved by placing a string on the head, on the mind. You can control how this person thinks or doesn't think. If we take a look at, with our animals, such as a dog, or if you're riding a horse, if you notice, everything is placed around the neck and the head area, because that is where all the power lies. And with a person, our power is in our mind, our ability to think and to reason, our wisdom, our ability to understand and obtain knowledge. The power is in the mind. The battle is lost or won in the mind. And so this is done by shaming the puppet, making them feel bad about themselves, disrespecting the puppet, lying to the puppet, fast-talking the puppet. The master puppeteer feels, of course, he's superior. He has superior education and knowledge, his thinking skills. He can outwit the puppet. So he does this by fast-talking and brainwashing the puppet. He may also resort to threatening to expose the secrets or to hurt the puppet, therefore gaining access to the puppet's weaknesses and using those weaknesses against that person, therefore giving him ultimate control that this person won't put up any type of rebellion or resistance. They will be left with no choice but to conform. And so also the master puppeteer will fill the mind of the puppet with lots of fear, thoughts of fear, therefore leaving them to feel that they have no one to turn to or depend on but the master puppeteer, or fear that if they don't do what they're told, or if they try to retaliate, what the punishment will be. Also the master puppeteer will install feelings of that, no one cares about you. No one is going to come and rescue you. You are all mine. And so how do we protect ourselves from the master puppeteer and his or her puppets? Well, first of all, we must realize that not everyone is our friend. Not every smiling face is a friendly face. Not everyone will be happy for your progress. Whenever you're progressing and moving forward in life, there will be two people that will be sent to attach themselves to you. One will be to help you to move forward and to progress towards your goals and the things that you're trying to accomplish. And number two the second person will be a stumbling block, someone who will sabotage, someone sent to impede progress, to bring your progress to a grinding halt, to stop you from achieving your goals, to sabotage the work of your hands. And so we must realize that, sometimes we get upset at the puppets, but we must realize that there's a person that's working behind the scenes. This master puppeteer is the unseen master of illusion and deceit. And so we must make sure that we are aware of this, and that with this awareness and wisdom, we learn that we can't just allow anyone into our inner circles. We can't just lay our life open and bare to anyone. We can't allow anyone just to jump on board and think that they are part of the mission. We must make sure people must be tested and prove themselves, that we're all on the same page, that we're all working towards the same goal, that we're all out to accomplish the same thing before we just allow them into our lives. And so sometimes we have to stop being so accommodating, and we have to clean house, and we have to require that there's a testing period before you're allowed into the inner circle. And we must make sure that we stop trying to be the sacrificial lamb or trying to be the savior to everyone. You know, we are called to certain people, and yes, we're called to help anyone that we can, but we can't pull everybody along. We can't bring everybody up. We can't save everybody, you know, especially at the sacrificing and the derailment of yourself. Also, if I have to push anything this year, I must make sure to push in 2020 in order to protect ourselves from these type of people. We must know our value. A person who knows their value, they're going to have boundaries. They're not going to allow certain things to happen. And so I can't emphasize that enough. In order to protect yourself, know your value, know your worth. 2020 is the year to recognize who you are, whose you are, and that you do have value and that you do have worth, and don't allow anyone else to tell you anything different. So I'm going to wrap the video up at this point. I didn't want it to be too long. It's already went a little bit over 16 minutes. But anyway, if you enjoy the content of my YouTube channel, please take the time to hit that like button, to subscribe. Keep those comments coming. I love each and every one of them. And also make sure to share this information. And as always, until we meet again, bye-bye, my friends.